Hi, this is Marcellus Lindsay, and I am a business coach and business mentor. I've actually worked in the music industry since 1980, working with artists in the whole range, working from Jay-Z. I've worked with Boys to Men. I've worked with Destiny's Child, and I work in an area of the business that is the business part of the music business. And recently, I got involved with a project here in the UK called Emergeination. And I was interviewed and, basically put raked across the coals by Susanna Westwood, the founder of Emergeination and chief exec of Imprint Productions. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to not only deliver some great value to emerging musicians and established musicians, but to kind of get get back on Susanna by raking her across the coals and drawing some knowledge out of her brain that will help you as an emerging musician, whether you're a DJ, MC, vocalist, instrumentalist, producer, studio owner. But if you work in the music industry, in the music business, then this will be of value to you. So continue to listen on and hear more from Susanna as I ask her 3 key questions that are going to help you make 2014 a better year than ever before in your music career. So, introducing, I kind of did that there. Susanna Westwood, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Now, I know there's another video that's probably on YouTube now, which is about the vision of Emergeination and why it was formed. But this is more something to actually give something directly to people who are prospective participants in the Emergeination project platform to grow their careers. So the first question, I remember that you asked me this to actually kind of get the ball rolling, was what qualities, skills, or attributes do you feel from your experience, from how many years have you been in the music business?
Gosh, it's coming up to 10 to 15 years now, probably about 15 or so.
So from your 15 years of first-hand frontline experience in the music business, what skills, qualities, or characteristics do you feel are most important to build a sustainable, successful music career?
For me, my personal experience and my personal opinion is to not only know your skill and your craft, so to speak, your art form, whether that's music, singing, producing, DJing, whatever that is, but also to know and understand the business. That is really important. It's not necessarily a skill, but it's something that you've got to sit and actually spend time learning about and actually spend time realizing it's important, because I think firstly when I first started off the music industry, I was like, I'm not really bothered about the business. I just want to be a singer. I just want to produce. I just want to create my own songs and be a songwriter, which was all good. And that was great. And I needed that time to do that. But actually what I quickly learned through some good and bad experiences, that I needed to understand the business. So taking that time out to understand the music industry, to understand what are the sections of it, looking at your marketing, looking at your branding, who do you want to be, where do you want to go, have those goals set. That's really important. Have a clear goal set of what you want, where you want to go. And then also the other kind of sort of thing I would say is just don't reinvent the wheel, in the sense of there are other artists that have done that. Sit back. I spent a lot of time researching artists that I loved, that inspired me, that I kind of was similar to my music style and taste. Looked at them and kind of went, right, how did they do that? Researched about what labels they were signed to. How did they go? Where did they tour? What are the skills that they put in place? And actually, not that you sit there and copy everything, but you actually don't reinvent the wheel. It's already been done. Look at the elements that they've done, the branding that they use, the images that they use. Have that understanding of going, right, here's some similarities that I can take from that. Here's some similarities I can take from this. Put that together. But most importantly, be you. You're creating you. There's no other person that's going to be you. And create that sort of element of who you are and make sure that it represents and it can be put out into the business world, as well as it just being good, amazing music. So.
Well, I think one of the things that we can look back, and if you look at what they call the one-hit wonders, and you even look at some of the successful artists going back from the 1950s, when the music industry was really formed, when they developed the record and the music industry in the way that it's kind of formed today.
Yeah.
And you look at how many of them had songs that we even hum and sing today that are not getting paid.
Yeah. Totally.
Because they did not take care of their business. They call it the music business for a specific reason. And that's why I think it's really powerful that you brought that up so people can be aware to do that. I think another important point just to consider is also this thing about the way it was done then, because it's moving so rapidly. So people could spend months and years studying the way it was done 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's completely changed now. So it's about having a place where they can keep up to date with all the changes without having to spend the years that the people already paid to do that are studying and doing. So
that's hugely important, and that's the thing. It's like even in the last 2 years, things have changed technology-wise, and social media. How much that really helps emerging artists today is it's huge. It's absolutely fantastic, but it's really hard when you're trying to study and learn your craft, and then you have to understand a bit of the business, and you have to understand a bit of marketing. Having to really get a depth knowledge of all this stuff is actually really hard work. But having a place where you can do that and actually ask the questions that you need to, or kind of go, well, how does this work? How do I best market myself? How do I best, how do I develop my skills so that I'm at a professional level, and just understanding those key things is really important. And not to pipe on too much about Emergeination, but that is the passion behind it. That's what it's there for, that you can actually ask directly those questions and go, well, how does this work? Or how do I get to that next level? That's hugely important because it's changing all the time, and you want people who are working in the industry rather than people who are just studying the industry. You want to ask the questions to those guys who've just come off tour and gone, well, what was that like? How does that feel? Or what do I do when I tour? Practical things. Like the best advice one of the guys gave me was like, do you know what? Keep yourself healthy and well. They all take Barocca. Not to advertise Barocca here, but it's like you've got to keep yourself well, because if you're doing a 30-week tour or whatever it is that you're doing, you're exhausted by the end of it. You need to keep well. So just practical things like that, which is really important that they will give you.
So I guess just one last thing on that, just kind of highlighting that point. I remember I did an interview with KRS-One, and just to show you that this wasn't a long time ago. This is only like six years ago. And he said that his main source of information was periodicals, because by the time a book is written and published, the information may be out of date.
Totally.
And just 5-6 years ago, he was talking about periodicals, and now we'd say you'd have to be on some kind of online platform.
Yeah.
More specifically, a paid platform rather than a free one, because this way you separate the people who are going to dabble around in the free economy, the people who are business people in the e-economy, as long as it's, just some kind of specific platform. And that's what I love about Emergeination, the way it's been set up, that it isn't prohibitive on price to get in. No. It's inexpensive, but at least the experts and people who are serious are part of that community.
Definitely, and that's what I'm passionate about. It's like getting people that really want to really excel, and they want to propel themselves to the next level, and that's why it's important.
And be around the people who are like-minded.
Definitely.
So the second question, so the answer to the first one was basically about understanding the music business, like you were saying, and getting understanding, taking the time out and being in the right place to develop that. So why is that important to you as the founder of Emergeination, to be able to provide this to emerging artists?
It's all from personal experience. It always comes down to that. Like I've experienced so much frustration firsthand from working in the music industry, just not understanding it. And sometimes I just signed things that I didn't know and I was unsure about, and I just didn't have those people to ask and kind of go, what do I do next? And I found that actually I needed to know it for myself. I had managers and I had people, and they go off and they do stuff for you, and it's all good. But then you suddenly realise when things turn sour, it's like, well, somebody's been treated like this, or someone's not been paid, or that's not in line with what I haven't, what I said, or things are getting twisted, and you're like, oh my goodness. And then suddenly you realise that you're losing out on all this money and somebody else is profiting from all your hard work, and you're like, I should have learned more before I got involved with this. And that's why it's important. It's really hugely important, so that you can do what you love 24/7. You can generate an income and understand your business and understand your craft, and that dream becomes reality then at that point. So you can actually make better decisions because you have better, more up-to-date information. Yeah. So I guess one of the other questions is, so all this stuff, if you, like right now, you weren't you,
right?
Okay.
But you were one of the emerging artists, the people that you're bringing to this community and supporting, yeah? If you knew at the beginning of your career, and had access to you now, which is basically what you're doing, you're letting people have access to the information you have now. You know what I mean? But if you knew then what you knew now, how much money and time would that have saved you in your career?
Oh my gosh. so much. Oh, that would have been so beneficial.
Out of the air.
I can't. It's like thousands and thousands of pounds. Like I've spent a fortune. When I had the revelation that business really mattered. That through experiencing pain of like making bad decisions. I'll be honest. Made some real bad humdingers. I decided to get a business coach. So that alone costs a fortune. Financial coaches. Then getting the chance to go to work with industry people in New York. I'm talking thousand pounds I've invested. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't have wanted all those experiences. But if I had known this when I was a lot younger, then I would have been like, oh my gosh, thousands. And the time I would have saved and just all those, it's just huge. Like it would have had a huge impact. And, and that's, but then for me right now, that's what's made Emergeination. And that's why it is so valuable to people, because it's all of those things combined. It's business coaches, it's finance coaches, it's industry professionals, coaches that can kind of help. But let alone that, it's you having the financial and creative control. That is huge.
I guess it's that whole thing of leverage again, because the whole fact of the large community all accessing this knowledge and this information and this experience means that, as opposed to how you had to spend thousands, to get financial and business coaches, they could spend basically pennies in comparison to get access to the same information.
Definitely, and that's like, I love that. I'm kind of like, great. If we can pass on some knowledge or some sort of skill that they can get, people can get access to, great. Done my job, so to speak.
So your top tip, what would you suggest for somebody who is serious about building a sustainable, credible career in the music industry? What would you suggest that they do, something that they can do right now to begin that whole process and get access to that information?
So first and foremost, there's some really clear things that I would suggest. Is one, be clear. Be clear on your goals. That is huge. I wandered around and spent a lot of time not knowing kind of what I wanted to do, but wasn't quite sure of how to do it. So it's like, be clear on what exactly it is that you want. Be practical, whether that's producing an album in the next year, or whether that's releasing an EP, whether that's producing for a band. Be really clear about what it is that you want to do. Then from there, be practical. Make little steps. I used to get so overwhelmed going, well, I just want it all now. Totally understand that feeling, but it's the little steps that have got me to where I need to go. And so make those phone calls. Have tenacity. Oh my gosh, I remember so many people saying, oh, Susanna, you've got tenacity, in the sense of, I just don't let go. Like, if I want something and I know this is something that I'm really passionate about, I just keep calling and I email and I call, because often people just get distracted by what's going on for themselves. So just keep contacting. Don't give up. It's the cliche say, believe in yourself, but actually you have to, because you have to be 100% determined, driven, and really going for this, because there is a lot of competition out there. Yes, there is, but really step and be practical. So first and foremost, what I would say is be clear about your goals, what you want to achieve in the next year. Really define what it is that you want to do. From there, be practical, make little steps, project plan it. It's a project at the end of the day. Yes, it's a creative and you want to be creative, and I don't want to take that away. Yes, you want to write and record your music, but be really practical with the steps that you need to take to do that. Part of Emergeination is going to be that we will give you the practical steps to do that. We will give you tools on how to market, how to brand, how to get that practical element that you need to get your music out there and actually making money from it, and enabling you to have the creative control. That's hugely important, and you realise it's important when you've had that taken away from you. So really, this is about you taking the control back, really getting to the place where you want to be, and really reaching those goals, making them your dreams, your reality, because they're not unobtainable. Even though people may say it is, it's not. You have to put the time and the work and the effort in, and you will get there.
Okay. So I guess this is, we've mentioned it before about calling it the year of Emergeination. From my perspective, and I guess people looking back in history, this is one of the greatest and best times to do what we're doing. You talk about branding, you can get brands created, you can get product out there to millions of people for pennies.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's about really knowing how to do that in an effective way. And that's the reason why I became part of the Emergeination team and a team of experts to help people to understand how to use these tools that, 20 years ago, if you say you wanted to release a track, a single globally, would have cost millions.
Millions, yeah.
Now, between the equipment that you have, between having the right laptop, microphone, and software, you can release that globally for pennies, literally for pennies. So it's about how to do it effectively and how to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. And a lot of it, from my perspective, is about the community that you're part of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They say the music business is not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And I believe that, Susanna, you're one of those people of the who to knows right now for emerging artists and creatives, because you're using your passion to be able to pass it on.
Yeah.
And to allow people to start where you're at right now, instead of them having to go through the 15 years of expense and heartache and pain that you've been through to get to where you are right now. So you actually answered those very, very well. See, I was a lot nicer to you because you were really grilling me, right?
Marcellus, you know you need that.
I really appreciate you taking the time out to share these tips for a winning 2014 and to make 2014 a year of Emergeination for the artists.
Yeah, definitely.
Any closing thoughts for people out there?
Well,
what would you like them to do next?
Well, just obviously keep engaged with Emergeination. Keep up to date with what we're doing. We will send you stuff. We will make sure that you have got as much information as possible. And if you have any questions, guys, just email. We are there. We will answer. And even if I don't know, I will make sure there's somebody that can answer you, and I'll put you in touch with the right people. So keep engaged, guys, and I look forward to seeing you on Emergeination.
All right. Thanks, Susanna.
Thank you. Thanks.